Hey, this is Walter Jones.
This is Austin St. John.
And you're listening to Ranger Danger.
In the podcasting life, they must fight to survive. Shackled by the chains of the past. They're the biggest of geeks, cause they watch every week. Subscribe to see if they can last. Go, go, Ranger Danger. We can't ever stop. Go, go, Ranger Danger. We will podcast till we drop. Probably forever. Yeah, whatever. Ranger Danger, Ranger Danger, Ranger Danger, Ranger Danger, Ranger Danger, Dino Charge.
Welcome once again to Ranger Danger Dino Charge. That's the podcast where we watch an episode of the televisual spectacular Power Rangers Dino Charge, and after that, we gab about it. My name's Matt. Michael is here.
Hi, guys.
I would like to establish something straight up front.
Okay.
Michael, we're not brothers.
Yeah, that's on my list of things to cover this week.
Okay, good. I'll just leave that there. I just want to get that right up top, because that's the most important thing I can say today. And we might be like spiritual brothers or like creative brothers, but not biological brothers.
Not like literal, have the same parents brothers.
That's correct. Okay, Now we actually have a website that you can visit if you want to find out more about Fantasy Zordon or check out our archive of episodes. That's rangerdangerpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to send us an interweb mail, which we love, that's rangerdangerpodcast@gmail.com. We're at Twitter, when we're always ready to receive your Twitter tweets. That's at RangerDcast. We're also on Facebook and iTunes and Stitcher and YouTube and Google Plus and TuneIn. Plus, we have a shop where you can buy actual things, real, tangible things that you can have in your life that bears our trademark.
Not like our faces. That would be weird.
No, definitely not that.
No one needs that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yes,
couple of things to get through this week before we get to episode 6. We should say it's episode 6 of Dino Charge.
Yep, the tooth hurts, I believe.
I love it. I love it so much already. So yes, first of all, we're not brothers.
No.
The reason we're saying that is Matt found on the internet someone who said we were brothers.
Yep.
We're not brothers.
Not brothers.
I don't know that I've ever actually said Tim, who's been on the show many times, is my brother.
That's true.
But he's not Matt's brother.
No.
Because Matt and I are not brothers.
Or sisters. I just want to make that perfectly clear.
We're not in any way related, except like if you go back thousands of years and, you know, we all start to be related.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we both came from Jesus. That much we know.
No, that's not even how it... That's not even how it works if you believe that that's how... Anyway. Okay, so... Couple of other things this week. Number one. Oh, okay. We asked people to buy something. We kind of begged last week.
Yes. 3
people bought mugs.
Yeah, you guys.
Thank you very much.
You're
guys.
The greatest. We appreciate you responding to our pleas. Our pathetic pleas.
Now that we've discovered that begging works, I want to try another one.
Mm-hmm.
If you use iTunes or the podcast app or anything like that, could you leave us a review? Maybe give us a star rating?
Yes.
Just when this episode finishes, just, go over to the little story bit and just, leave something.
And it really does make a difference. I know you specifically listening right now are out there thinking, oh, it doesn't really make a difference. I'm not going to affect this podcast in any way. But the amount of reviews we get affects the amount of listeners we have. The amount of listeners we have affects what we're able to do in the show. So we're looking to be able to talk to more Ranger actors. We're looking to be able to get to press screenings when the movie comes out. But that all does really depend on our audience numbers, which you have a direct influence over.
Yeah, look, the thing is, kind of our audience numbers in particular are they're a number that we kind of are able to collect vaguely.
Yeah.
But the number of reviews that have been left on iTunes is a tangible number that someone other than us can look at and go, oh yeah, okay, people are listening to these guys.
Yeah, that's right.
It doesn't have to be like a real review. I'm sure you can just leave a 5-star or even a 4-star. Don't leave a 1. There's one review that's still there. I don't know if you can edit them. Someone left a really lovely review.
Like a written
and
review.
gave us 1 star.
That's right, yeah.
So if that was you, would you mind fixing it?
Just
I don't.
Even if you don't think it was you, just double check it wasn't, just in case.
Frankly, I don't even mind if you were to edit the review to be really negative. It's just the inconsistency really bugs me.
Certainly, yeah.
All right. So, leave a review. I don't think there's anywhere else you can leave us a review other than those places.
They're probably the most important.
Yeah. I'm sure you can leave a review on the iTunes store even if you don't use iTunes. That's right. Somehow, maybe. Anyway, okay. That's cool. Number 2, Yoshi, our favourite blue Dino Charge Ranger.
I think we can call him our favourite Dino Charge Ranger at this point.
Yeah, probably so far. That's fair. So he met with some Toei executives during the week.
Yep.
And one of the things he asked them was about US DVD releases. Mm-hmm. They are planning more Japanese toku shows for US release.
Oh, that's cool.
So Japanese toku shows kind of opens it up to maybe being like a Kamen Rider or...
Yeah, that was the one I was specifically hoping for.
Any kind of, lots of potential options.
Yep.
But also it could be additional seasons of Power Rangers or of Sentai, I guess.
Yep.
So that's kind of exciting and cool.
Yep.
It will be interesting to see what they do with that and how long that license goes for, that sort of thing.
Sure.
Another thing, Matt, we haven't talked on the podcast yet about this independent, not Power Rangers movie.
Oh, yeah. I've forgotten about that, actually.
Yeah, so a bunch of... Well, one Power Ranger is making a movie.
Yes.
It's Michael Copon, who was the Blue Time Force Ranger.
That's right.
So he's making a movie that is, as far as we can tell, basically Power Rangers, but with all of the things that Saban could sue you for removed.
Yes.
He's got the support of what looked like a reasonable set of Power Rangers actors.
Yeah, absolutely. Although it should be said that there's a lot about this video that is vague, that makes me a little concerned. One of them being, he has a lot of actors appear and say basically donate to this, but not make any commitment about whether they'd be in it. It's one thing to say, yeah, you should support this guy, but a lot of people seem to be taking that as, yes, I will be in this.
Yeah.
And another one of those vague sort of things is what you're talking about. If you watch the video, it spends a lot of time implying that they will just be Power Rangers, particularly because his character is named after his Power Rangers character.
Yeah.
But it's not until the end that it's sort of slipped in a very sort of nebulous way that they won't be Power Rangers per se. They'll be Power Rangers-like. We don't know if they do or don't transform. It's hard to tell what the end result will be here.
Yeah, I mean, look, as far as Indiegogo projects go, it's not the dodgiest one I've ever seen. And certainly I don't want to insinuate that I think he's trying to rip people off or anything like that.
No, I think he just could have been clearer, I guess.
I don't think it includes enough information. So they've already raised $6,000.
Yep.
They're going for $200,000.
Yes.
They've got 25 days left. They're not going to make that goal.
Yep.
It is a flexible funding campaign, which means any money they make, they will keep.
Yep.
Which I don't love, but sure.
Yep.
So it will be interesting to see kind of where this goes. If the movie happens, what the movie is.
Speaking of Yoshi, I did notice on his Facebook page that he sort of put a link to it and basically says you should donate to this and also let them know that I'd love to be in it and I should be a part of it. So even the Rangers who weren't mentioned in the video, some of them have been sort of expressing interest.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have no doubt that for a lot of them, getting a chance to kind of go back and, even if it's not quite as a Power Ranger, being able to appear in a place where a whole bunch of people will go, hey, it's that guy, I love that guy.
Sure.
That's, important and useful and valuable to a lot of people.
Very much so, yep.
So, look, we'll put a link in the show notes if you want to check it out. I'm not comfortable saying you have to donate to this or you should donate to this. Make up your own mind based on what you can see there. But that's
absolutely what I'd say, yep.
It's definitely something that you as a listener of this podcast will be interested in checking out.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's everything from my list now.
Great.
All right, so The Tooth Hurts.
Yeah, we're going to go watch The Tooth Hurts.
Yeah, Are you already cringing at that pun?
Yes, but I also like it.
I love it so much.
It's good, but it hurts me.
So we've already kind of had a episode that spotlighted every Ranger so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess at this point we're finally just up to the, everybody work as a team episode?
Possibly, but we could also see another rotation through individuals, or maybe spotlights on 2 of them.
Sure, absolutely. I think it's probably time for all 5 of them to form a Megazord together.
Yeah, if that's a thing that can happen, certainly.
Yeah, because, episode 6, to have still not seen that is kind of amazing, really.
Yeah, but as I said, I don't even know if that's a thing that they do,
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Because, when there's 10 of them, I presume that there won't be, a 10-part Megazord.
Are you sure?
I'm certainly not sure, but that seems logistically challenging.
I believe, from what I've seen of previous seasons, it basically looks like a dude with 10 bits sticking off him.
Yeah.
They certainly look much less elegant once you've got, 8 robots joining together.
Yes, absolutely.
Alright, so The Tooth Hurts. Did you have anything else you wanted to cover, Matt?
No, I think I'm good. Looking forward to watching another episode of Power Rangers, kind of.
Kind of.
Once again, I'm very tired, so it's almost like work, but I'm going to try and set that aside and come to it fresh with the eyes of a child or something.
Okay, let's move past that because I don't know quite what that was. Those of you listening at home, make sure you've got your Fantasy Zordon score sheets out.
Yeah, it's important. You don't want to miss out on the hot action of something that's almost like watching sports.
Yeah, that's what we're going for, We want it to be as much like kind of watching sports as possible.
Yeah, definitely spectator adjacent.
Yep, yeah, yep.
Let's watch the episode before we go crazy. You can watch it too if you'd like, and we'll see you in a moment.
Bye, guys.
Ranger danger, Ranger danger.
And we're back. Welcome back, listeners. Before we get too far into things, I'd like to take a moment to just a little bit of backstory here. When we record, or just before we record rather, I'm often known to say, let's make art.
Yep.
And Michael will always, I don't want to say put me down, but certainly put that idea down, certainly dismiss it, I guess I would say. But I went and watched the episode and then got a Skype message from Michael saying, let's make art. So it's a historic occasion.
It's just become the signifier that we're about to talk about Power Rangers for an hour.
I choose to believe that you're now acknowledging our podcast as art.
Okay, you can choose to believe that if you like, but that won't change the actual fact. What did you think of The Tooth Hurts, Matt?
I fucking loved this episode.
Okay, I need to say something. And I need it to be understood that the word that I'm about to use to describe this episode is not meant in any way as a pejorative. It's not an insult. It's just a description. This episode was super gay.
Yeah, sure. In the sort of romantic, or having a romantic story structure to it.
In the sense that if the 2 of them had made out at the end of the episode, it would only have been weird in the sense that there was a gay kiss happening on Power Rangers.
Certainly, yeah, no, I'm with you there.
Alright, will we take it from the top and tell people how we get up to that point?
Yeah, I really love this episode. I just need to say that up front, and I'll say it again multiple times, I'm sure, but I had a really good time.
Okay.
Starting on the episode opens up with the Green Ranger Riley. He's at his local sporting complex doing many, many exercises. He's doing sit-ups, he's doing push-ups, he's running. He'll look tired for a second and then keep going. There's just a lot of exercise happening here.
He's a very busy exerciser.
He sure is. Then we cut to the spaceship up sort of above the Earth where all the villains are. And Poisandra has freed one of the inmates of Slender's ship, who is an evil chef, which I love.
We'll come to learn that he's called Cavity.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. He is indeed named Cavity. Now, Cavity is making wedding cakes for Poisandra, and it seems like what she's going for is a cake that is so bad that no one who attends the wedding will ever forget it.
Yep.
Which is kind of amazing. Like, is that... maybe that's just me. And having gone to a wedding where so much...
You were just at a wedding, weren't you, Matt?
I was, like, days ago. And so much effort and emphasis is put on everything. Everything is micromanaged. Everything is important. And it is, like, the driving goal there is to make it sort of...
Unforgettable.
Definitive. Unforgettable, absolutely. And seeing it just sort of ever so gently skewered in that way really tickled my fancy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I went to a wedding.
Yeah?
And yeah, more people I know need to get married. No, don't do that, because then I'll start to feel old and sad. Don't get married, people I know.
I feel that every day.
Jesus Christ. Is this going to be a bleak episode of Ranger Danger? It just ends with dead silence and then 2 different gunshots.
I was more thinking just sort of like the quiet sound of tears hitting desks. But sure, you can take it to that place.
Okay, so anyway. So Cavity is kind of amazing. He's dressed in like a chef's hat and a chef's white apron.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like a meringue beard.
Yeah.
And the most horrifying mouthful of teeth you have ever seen.
Yeah, it's definitely very confronting. It's like, you see those exaggerated, here's why you shouldn't do ice photos.
Yeah, the art direction was meth.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, they say he eats cakes, but I think it's a metaphor for crystal meth.
Yeah, well, that's all this show's always been about, really.
Really, deep down.
Yeah. So, Fury comes in. He thinks this is all super dumb.
Yep.
Because he's angry all the time. That's his thing.
Also, because it's kind of super dumb.
It is a little super dumb, but that's also why it's amazing.
Yes.
So, Poisandra offers him some of her most recent cake that she's trying.
Yeah.
Sneakily, of course, this is the cake that Cavity had promised would give you like a monster toothache.
Certainly.
They can't show Fury eating the cake because his mouth doesn't move. Yep. So we get this great shot where she like holds the cake up, he takes it, we stay on her while there's eating noises, and then cut back to him having finished the cake.
It's a pretty creative solution.
Yeah, it would just be better if their mouths could move.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, but this is where we're at.
Yeah.
So Sledge walks in and is like, what the hell is going on here, you fucking children? And basically Poisandra is surprisingly upfront about it. And just says, look, so I made a cake that causes you incredible pain, and then I tricked him into eating it.
Yep.
And Sledge is like, fair enough, but maybe instead of doing that to each other, you could do that to the Power Rangers. And this was the point in the episode that I realized that the episode was going to feature evil cake, and I was over the moon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's such a weird episode.
Yes. I mean, we'll break it down as we go on, but this was that perfect combination of absolutely insane bullshit that you can only get from the Japanese Sentai guys, which is evil cake.
Yep.
And also genuinely compelling and interesting character drama.
Yep.
And sort of nuanced storytelling.
Yeah, it's funny. I guess the thing is, the old setup of the show used to be one of the characters has a personal problem. Yeah. That personal problem is directly tied to the monster of the week.
Yeah.
The monster of the week they beat, and then that helps them overcome their personal problem.
It does and it doesn't, though. Like, it would often be sort of, they would defeat the monster and then have some sort of, like, serendipitous epiphany about the theme of the week.
That's also certainly true.
Whereas this, and again, we'll get to it as we go on, but this felt like a genuine and understandable growth.
Yeah,
and it was...
I guess what's happened is, because they have shit to deal with now, like, oh, there's an evil cake.
Yeah.
You can't just introduce one of the Power Rangers is bad at baking this week.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't give you any room to be consistent and interesting with your characters if one of them has to be bad at cakes this week.
Exactly right.
So what they've done instead is almost split those two apart again and just given us, like, interesting character drama that also interacts with these crazy plots.
Absolutely.
It's great. More like this, please.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to try and not sort of rant and rave like a crazy person, but I'm very much a fan of doing it this way.
Yeah. Sledge orders Cavity to bake that cake for the Rangers.
Yeah.
Make them suffer, and then bring me their energems.
Once again, I'd just like to say that I really wish more television shows would have the big bad of the season request that a cake be made for his mortal enemies.
I'm trying to imagine any other show that would be, like, acceptable on.
I could definitely see it maybe for Breaking Bad, you know? If he's like,
a meth
I'm gonna
cake.
Well, not necessarily meth, but he's a chemistry professor. He cooks a cake that has some sort of horrific poison component.
Okay, sure.
Sent it to rival dealers.
I mean, it would make a lot of sense on, like, MasterChef.
Certainly.
But that's basically the structure of that show already, so...
I'm not familiar with MasterChef. How often does the people who make the cake grow into giant monsters and have to be slayed by robots?
Look, I'm not going to tell you that I've seen every episode of MasterChef.
Yeah.
But certainly not in any of the ones I've seen.
Okay, so you've been seeing the bad episodes, I guess.
I mean, yeah, sure. Wait, does Gordon Ramsay count as a giant robot?
He certainly counts as a giant monster.
Oh, I like Gordon Ramsay.
Do you?
Yeah, he acts mean, but he's only mean to dickheads. He's very nice to kids, Matt.
Well, I guess that's a badge of honor, isn't it?
Yeah. Look, this could turn into a podcast where we discuss Gordon Ramsay, so let's move on instead.
Okay.
But I'm going to put a link in the show notes to Gordon Ramsay is nice to kids.
Is that a page? Is that a place you can go to find out about that?
If it's not, I have another thing to do tonight.
Okay, great.
So
and that'll be GordonRamsay'sNiceToKids.tumblr.com?
I mean, where else would it be? Okay, so at the museum, after the opening credits, Riley is doing that practice thing that he was doing before with a tennis ball machine and his sword.
Can I just say that his tennis ball machine is a box that has a hole in it that shoots out tennis balls and has his Stegosaurus symbol just plopped on top of it?
Yeah, inventions.
Thumbs up. Approved. Love it.
His sword can't be that good a sword if tennis balls just constantly bounce off it.
I like to think that that was more due to his skill.
Right,
because
he's using the, like, blunt parts of the blade.
Exactly. If you threw a ball at a normal sword and then you sort of turned it at a perfect right angle, it wouldn't split the ball.
Okay, sure, let's go with that.
Yep.
So Chase is sitting there, reading a book and slurping.
With his headphones in,
Yep.
While Riley is doing awesome sword flips.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think you'd pay a little bit of attention to your boyfriend.
Not together yet, Michael. Settle down.
So Chase is slurping. It's distracting Riley.
Yep.
Riley goes over and confronts him. And Chase basically says, look, you're practicing the same move over and over again. How useful could that ever possibly be?
Yeah, and Riley raises the point that this is where I got stuck fighting last time when I first found my inner gem fighting Fury.
Yep.
And if I can overcome that, then I know that Fury can't pull that on me a second time. But Chase's argument is that, yeah, but he's probably going to do something else and you're going to be fucked if you're not ready to sort of improvise.
Yeah, the odds of him doing the same fight technique twice are... Well, actually, they're not terrible because it's Power Rangers, but... Yeah, the odds of exactly the same thing happening, not good, so stop practicing that maneuver and just try, going with the flow more.
Yep. At this point, Riley says, oh, at least I'm practicing.
That's a fair call.
Yeah, yes and no, because Chase says, look, we each have our own way of doing things, back off, which is like a completely legitimate point, Maybe Chase was practicing earlier and we didn't see it.
I mean, I imagined that if Riley's saying he doesn't practice, he sees him a lot more often.
Sure.
But we will later learn that he does do other things. He's not always just down at the skate park, Matt.
That's right.
So the other guy, we're upstairs now.
Yep.
This was really interesting. So Tyler and Coda are talking about the gold energem.
Yeah, that's right.
And so what they're saying is they know that energem bonded with a pterodactyl.
Yep.
So Kendall's saying that she reckons in the southwest creek bed, that's where there should be a pterodactyl.
Yep.
So maybe that's where they should check.
Sure.
Doesn't come up at all this week.
No, again, that's them seeding plots for laying seeds for future plots, which is really exciting to me.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I believe that it'll happen in like 2 or 3 episodes, I think, from what I've read. But the fact that it isn't happening, this week, that's a big step for this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the chef has given out some free samples of the new cake recipe that he's trying.
Yep.
And just before all the Rangers go to eat it, Riley smashes it out of Tyler's hands. He points out that everybody else who's eaten the cake has got, like, glowing purple teeth.
Now, I like how consistent this is, because Riley is presented as the tactician. He's always thinking, always planning things out. So I like that he's the one to notice that something's up when the others are all focused on cake.
The downside there is that none of them notice that the chef, who is in plain sight in the open plan kitchen, is literally a monster.
The thing is, in a dinosaur museum like that, if there was a guy in a weird costume in the cafeteria, I'd be like, oh, that's just part of how they do things here.
But these guys work at the cafeteria.
That's true.
We do see that there is a new chef who is tied up and, like, on the floor. But the fact that none of them looked over and went, oh, that's the new chef. No, that's not the new chef. That's a horrible monster.
Yeah.
Like, you get the feeling that all it would take for a monster to break into their secret base would just be for it to walk in wearing a red shirt and jeans. And everyone would be like, oh, it's Tyler.
No, he'd have to at least wear overalls. He'd be like, I'm a mechanic. I'm here to fix your TV.
We don't have a TV down here. Rah!
Exactly. I really like... Actually, no, like isn't the right word. There's a moment here when Riley says, don't eat the cake, and then Coda looks at his slice of cake and says, no cake? And it is heartbreaking.
I can't imagine he gets cake often.
No, he's a caveman. Cake is new shit.
Yeah.
Depending on when he woke up, we're still not sure about that.
Yeah, it was really unclear.
It was.
Anyway, so they chase after the monster.
Yep.
Which, again, leaves the cafe deeply understaffed, and I'm not comfortable with it.
Your ex-manager is coming through, Michael.
Look,
you've got deep staffing level concerns.
If 5 people who are all meant to be working all run away, you've got problems.
Yeah, but if you think about it, they're going to save a lot of money on wages, so...
Oh, well, I didn't see any of them clock out before they left.
Yeah, but they're Rangers. They're going to be honest about it. They'll retroactively be like, okay, had to leave and morph here, so don't pay me for these this time.
We get the impression that Kendall, I guess, runs the museum, or at least is in some degree of in charge.
Certainly.
Do you think she's, like, paying everyone? And does she pay them, like, for time spent rangering as well?
Yeah, I really like the idea that she is mega rich. And she just sort of bankrolls the team in the way that Tony Stark does the Avengers.
Right, she just loves dinosaurs, so she had a dinosaur museum and then discovered the Power Rangers and was like, well, yeah, all right.
Yeah, she's the ultimate hobbyist. So she's like, yep, I love dinosaurs. If there's going to be superheroes that are tied to dinosaurs, I guess that's in my wheelhouse. Have some money.
Yep, as long as it touches dinosaurs, that's it. I'm responsible for that.
Yep.
Okay, so 3 of them hang back, but Chase and Riley run ahead.
Yep.
They do like a run morph.
Yeah, I kind of do and don't like this moment, because I really like the idea of an urgent morph.
Yep.
Where there's a time pressure, and they do kind of... I don't think they quite bring the energy up enough, but they do have that moment where they're running and they say quickly, it's morphin' time. Or no, sorry, they don't say that. They do say, well, unleash the power, or...
Energize, dinosaur, backgammon, whatever it is they say, I don't know.
Yep. Backgammon?
Backgammon. Anyway, so at this
It's terrible improvising.
I'm not good at improvising. That's why we do a podcast. That's why we don't do a live improv show.
Okay.
If you said to me, Michael, do you want to go improv an episode of Power Rangers? I'd say no, I'm terrible at that.
It could be great, though, if they start shouting backgammon to
Look,
more.
if I can be honest, now that I've said that sentence, I feel like we should really do that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'll have to think about that one.
I'm going to write that in the list of notes. That's not a terrible idea. Anyway, they shoot Cavity just in the back.
Yeah.
That was a little far for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, if the blasts had any sort of definitive effect on anything...
Yeah, that would
I'd be
make
with
it
you.
worse, certainly.
But it does just kind of glance off, you know, so...
So
I understand where you're coming from, but I'm not too concerned.
Cavity shoots a big tree.
Yeah.
The tree starts to decay.
Now, when you say shoots, it really comes out of his teeth, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He shoots sort of tooth decay at a tree. He weaponizes tooth decay.
This show, Matt,
So to make sure that was clear for the
it
listeners.
sure is something. Swords deflecting lasers is now a definitive part of the physics of this show.
Well, swords deflecting tooth decay lasers, specifically.
But also shovels can deflect regular lasers. So...
Yeah. And I mean, if you follow that logic through, it does mean that you're going to be doing quite a good thing for your teeth if you brush with a shovel.
Don't, kids, if you're listening, first, I'm sure this has got a little explicit tag, so you shouldn't be listening. Second, don't brush your teeth with a shovel. Don't listen to Matt. No.
Listen to the science that's presented.
No, that's not science.
Just look, the evidence is mounting, that's all I'll say.
Oh boy. We're going to get an angry letter from a mother about how her kid just went out and bashed all his teeth in with a shovel. And we're going to be secretly a little proud that we have that kind of influence.
Oh god, yes, absolutely. Or dude, secretly.
Matt will gloat. He'll post the letter on the Facebook page.
Happy as a clam.
Anyway, so Riley and Chase basically get into an argument about... I don't even know what the argument was about.
Well, basically, Riley is deflecting blasts, but not really making any ground on the guy.
Sure.
And then Chase is like, no, that's not working, pushes him out of the way and goes to take a shot, but sort of takes a hit himself. And then afterwards, there's sort of a debate about what caused it. Sort of Chase is saying, look, you weren't getting anywhere with that. I think Riley was suggesting he was making ground slowly and he should have just been allowed to do his thing.
Anyway, they're not paying attention and Cavity comes over and just punches them in the face.
Yeah. It's pretty great, actually.
Yeah.
It's a good moment of, like, they're not getting along, and instead of a metaphorical punishment for that, they literally just get punched in the face for their hubris, you know?
It's at this point that I've got the first note, this is super gay.
Well, I mean, as I said, it's definitely got a romantic comedy structure.
Yes.
You know? Where you have the sort of disagreements, but they only serve to highlight the differences that they actually appreciate about each other and bring them together in the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they fall in love. It's great.
Yeah, it is great.
Look, I'll be honest, if this fanfiction doesn't already exist, I'm going to be a little disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's Ranger Danger canon, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, okay, so back at the Dinosaur Museum,
Yep.
Riley and Kendall are doing science together to try and figure out if it was the cake or the frosting that caused the decay.
My notes here say CSI Power Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, man, isn't that a really good idea?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fascinating?
Yep.
What happened here? Oh yeah, everyone got tooth decay from a monster cake. Yep, that sounds like one of ours.
Yeah. We'll take that. That's definitely not homicide.
No, that's definitely Power Rangers CSI.
Yeah.
Zordon would be the mentor.
What, like Grissom? Or
Yeah. Zordon is the Grissom of the show.
Okay.
I actually think Law and Order Power Rangers is a better fit.
How do you split it? So who's the cops and who's the lawyers?
Well, they're all the cops.
Yeah.
And then you have a separate team of just plain lawyers who have to do all the arguing at the end.
Sure, okay.
Look, if there's not an episode of, like, SPD that's a Law and Order parody, I'm going to be very disappointed in 20 years when we get up to it.
Couldn't you have, like, the Megazords be the lawyers, and they sort of have to make a case that I don't know how you'd sort of make it a metaphor, but
no, don't bother. Don't bother making a metaphor. They wear curly wigs, and they yell objection a lot. I don't know a lot about lawyers.
Oh, or they could just be like they're making their case while beating the shit out of the monster.
Yeah, that's
they're
good.
like,
yeah.
We found this hair. Bam. Your blood matches the one we have on file. Bam.
Matt also apparently doesn't know a lot about lawyers. I think it's time for us to move on because we've.
And then the monster is like, "No, you obtained this illegally." Punch back.
Objection.
Yeah.
This is a violation of my "don't get punched in the face" rights.
This is not due process.
Anyway, so Riley and Kendall are doing science. Chase comes in, and it's unclear whether he passive-aggressively or just absent-mindedly starts cleaning up.
I think absent-mindedly. It doesn't seem malicious when he starts doing it.
But so he starts, throwing the cake out, at which point Riley gets pissed because that's important science cake.
Yep.
And they have... It's a proper relationship fight.
Yeah.
It's kind of sweet, really.
So Riley here is pissed off because he wants to do science on the cakes. Chase makes the case that, look, you eat the cake, you get toothache, it's alien magic, it's not that complicated.
Yeah, what else do we need to be, considering in this?
Exactly. And I was kind of on Chase's side in this one, which I wasn't expecting. But I was like, you guys are probably overthinking this. It's evil cake. This isn't the right sort of route to be going down.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so Chase storms off in a huff, even though they're both told to leave. Riley doesn't, as far as we know.
No, he stays there. Yeah. He has science to do.
That's right. Very important science.
But the next time we see Riley is downstairs. He's doing more tennis ball.
Yep.
And at this point, my notes say, ugh, it's Keeper again.
Yeah, that was my feeling when he showed up. But the role he takes in this episode, where he's basically the sort of, enigmatic sage who dispenses advice, but doesn't sort of directly lead the team, I'm okay with that.
Okay, so he's basically doing the Zordon thing, where he's not telling them what to do all the time. Yeah. He's just dispensing, have you thought about this?
Yeah, and I'm quite happy with them separating out those two roles, where Kendall does the operational stuff.
Yeah, she's the field leader.
Yeah, so she doesn't seem like an idiot because she's being vague about things that you really shouldn't be vague about.
Yeah.
But then they have another one, their spiritual leader, who's able to sort of talk more about the themes of the episode, basically.
He's the Sam Waterston of Power Rangers Law and Order.
Exactly. And he does this cool thing where he says, haven't you considered that two paths can end up at the same location? And demonstrates this by throwing one ball into, a little container. And then throwing another ball up into the air, hitting it, and ricocheting it 8 times around the room and then getting it into the container as well.
He definitely does not throw it anywhere near hard enough for it to bounce that many times.
Well, alien magic. That's fine.
Okay, alien magic I will accept.
Yeah. And at this point, I was like, I like Keeper in this role. That was an interesting visual way to demonstrate that theme. And it's also just a kind of nuanced theme, because what I was expecting was another sort of rehash on Chase is a bit lazy, hasn't really got it together, needs to learn to focus.
Sure.
What I got instead is this the explanation of the idea that two people can operate in very, very different ways, and it doesn't make either of them more right.
Yeah, being hyper-focused is not necessarily the only acceptable way to go about it.
Exactly. And this is not the sort of trite, you shouldn't litter message that we'd get on Power Rangers.
Sure.
This is one of those things that sometimes a lot of adults don't get.
Yep.
And sort of having that be the subject matter that you're tackling, Yeah, bravo. I'm all about it.
Yep, good work, Power Rangers. Keep it up.
Damn straight good work. I really like this episode, Michael.
So, we're with Posandra in a back alley.
Yeah.
And it's this close-up of her face where I realise she's got, like, a weird, like, bondage face mask thing over the bottom of her face.
Oh, it looks like a chin strap, I guess.
But it's got, like, an open zipper. And the top half of it is, like, over the top of her mouth.
Yeah.
So if it zipped up, it would be like a weird, gimpy face mask thing.
I guess to my mind, it's more meant to evoke like a strange doll rather than anything sexual, but I can understand why you'd make that sort of connection.
It's just... They go some strange places designing these guys.
Certainly. Yeah.
So Cavity burns off his chef outfit.
Yep.
He basically says, like, look, I'm sick of making cakes. That's not actually, like, what I'm trying to do down here.
He basically goes, this has been fun so far, but we've probably overstepped the line a little bit. Now I need to be a real villain.
Yeah, I need to go be a giant monster that they can destroy. So let's go take care of that.
Yep.
Coda does a thing where he drops from a tree into a truck. That's pretty cool.
It's so good. Love the idea that Coda was just up a tree. That was how he was looking for the monster.
What he says is, like, he drops into the tree and goes, nope, couldn't see him.
Yep.
That's great.
It's great. Yep.
Oh. So, Chase is out looking on his skateboard.
Yep.
Which I noticed in this episode has a kiwi on it.
Yeah, it's always had that.
Yeah, it's the first time it's, like, clicked for me as a thing.
Yeah, because he's a Kiwi, man.
No matter, I get it. I love it.
So, I just want to make sure that you understand the connection that they've made.
I can't quite explain why I love it as much as I love it, but I really genuinely do love it.
Yeah. That's cool.
And at that point, he sees Cavity, who's attacking a bridge.
Yep. This is because it looks like there's apartment buildings lining the sides of the bridge, and he just tears them to pieces in seconds.
Yep.
Like, considering that he didn't murder the chef whose place he took, he suddenly escalates to, like, mass, like, death and destruction raining from the sky.
No, Matt, that building had already been evacuated.
Oh, I see. My mistake.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's safe.
Yeah.
So Chase gets his own solo morphing sequence, which I don't think he's had yet.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same morphing sequence as everyone else gets.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't think it's that it's too long, necessarily.
Yeah.
But I think it's got too many bits.
Yeah, I'm with you on the bits thing.
They say, like, 4 things.
And because they say so many things, they often have to take them out. So, in this, he doesn't even get to say it's morphin time.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
For Fantasy Zordon's sake, Michael, is that a morphing call?
I didn't think so.
No, but my feeling is it's morphing time is the morphing call.
Yeah, I'd agree. Or a close enough approximation if, like, they substitute a word out to be funny or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
So, at this point, Chase shoots Cavity point blank in the face.
Yeah.
Like, boy, they would not have let them get away with that in 1997.
Kids these days.
I guess because it's a laser gun, it's somehow okay.
Yeah.
And also because it immediately backfires on Chase.
Yes. It blasts him right in the face as well.
Yeah, so the Cavity, like, lasers reflect back, and they decay his suit, so he demorphs.
Yeah.
And also now he's got a terrible toothache.
Yeah.
And Cavity's approaching on him, about to just destroy him.
Yep.
Riley's here to save his boyfriend.
Yep. Because Riley has realised, he was out looking for the monster. He wasn't just goofing off.
Yeah.
Maybe what Keeper said was right, and we're just different people.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good lesson to learn.
It is a good lesson.
I would call it a valuable lesson, in fact.
I would especially say that because Riley's my character for Fantasy Zordon.
So, at this point, everybody does, like, a group morph.
Yep.
Everything Chase does is interrupted by his horrible toothache.
This is so good.
It's so good.
It's perfect comedy.
Yeah.
And it happens like 6 times.
Still funny.
It should stop being funny. Instead, it just gets funnier.
So first, Riley does, like, the hold out your little battery thing.
Yeah.
And when everybody's meant to say it in unison, Chase goes like, no, no, can't do it. And that's good. That's great. Because then they go, it's morphin' time, and he morphs.
Yeah.
And then they start doing their, frankly, overkill, announce who I am and what my dinosaur is thing.
Yes.
And I was going, oh yeah, I don't need to see this. And then Chase can't do his because he's got a horrible toothache.
Yeah.
And it's funny. And then they all do their stand in front of an explosion and pose. And Chase is collapsing, holding his mouth.
It's almost like, oh god, he's in a lot of pain. It's like, this combination, it might make it more funny because it does seem like excruciating pain.
It's so
I'm not
bad
sure
that, like, he can't get through a sentence of, this is what we're about to do.
Yeah. It's
a great visual gag because it looks good, especially the shot of them all in front of the explosion and he's just falling over to one side.
Yeah, it's pitch perfect physical comedy is what it is.
Good work, whoever it was in Japan who invented that idea.
Yeah. But also good work, the American writers for tackling it, you know? It wasn't like, oh, that's a bit silly, they eat cake and get toothaches. They really went for it.
I mean, let's be honest, if that was too silly, they'd have problems adapting this show.
Sure, but I could understand, like, for example, when the episode was starting, it opens with Riley exercising, and then we get evil cake that gives you toothache. And I was so set up for this to be an episode
about like healthy eating and...
Exactly right.
That would have been crap.
Yes, it would have been, and that's exactly what we would have got in Mighty Morphin.
Oh, I'm so glad we didn't get that episode.
I know. Like that only served to increase my appreciation of this. But that seemed like the very obvious route to go, right?
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
would have been like, Chase is a slacker, he's not exercising, he's eating too many snacks, and now it's backfired. But we get this instead. So much better.
Yeah. Keep it up, Dino Charge.
Definitely.
You're definitely already in the top 4 or 5. Okay, so... Boy, they make like a gun sword. They swap dino batteries. I forget what they're called.
Dino Chargers?
Yeah, probably. That word, Dino Charger, could apply to like any of the different things that they've got.
Yeah, the problem is they've got a lot of things that are similarly named.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of bits.
Yeah, so Chase gives Riley his one.
Yeah.
And it makes like a special magic sword.
Yeah.
He does an attack that very much makes it look like Cavity's head comes off.
Yeah, it sure does.
Because he like knocks him backwards and his head is hidden behind his leaning back body. Yeah. And I kind of went, no, there's no way the shot... Oh, no, he's just... Okay, that's fine. That's what's going on.
It does take out all of the teeth in his mouth, though.
Boy.
And the only thing that took away from this for me was that Riley didn't shout immediately before this. He didn't shout out, time to make some toothpaste.
That's the worst line. That's terrible.
But it's so appropriate for this situation.
You don't get to give me shit for my improv and then tell me that the best thing you've got is time to make some toothpaste.
Michael, he destroys teeth. There's no toothpaste puns in this episode. This was the perfect opportunity.
Okay, so anyway. Then Riley...
I'll let that go.
Riley loans his Dino Charger to Chase, and it makes like a super gun.
Yeah.
It would be
a final strike Dino Morpher thing.
It would be good if the combinations made like sense. Like when you put the gun one into a sword, the sword shot something. And when you put the sword one into a gun,
it does seem
the gun
super
shot
arbitrary.
Swords. It basically just, if you put someone else's in, it'll make it better.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And it doesn't explicitly state to me that doing that is any better than just using one of your own to charge it up.
Yeah, sure. Other than, important lessons about teamwork and such.
Sure.
Chase shoots his mega gun, and that's it for Cavity.
Yep.
He just explodes.
Yeah. He just straight up explodes.
Yep.
Now, for Fantasy Zordon purposes, Michael.
Yes.
Is this Chase destroying the monster, or Riley and Chase destroying the monster?
Huh. That's interesting, because we've got it written in Fantasy Zordon as solo defeat.
That's right.
But the two of them together destroy the monster.
It definitely did seem like a 1-2 punch.
And it's just that Riley happens to go... The fact that Riley just happens to go first...
Yeah.
There's no real reason that they couldn't have happened the other way around.
Sure.
So let's say that they both solo defeat this monster.
Certainly, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. And specifically, it's a defeat because he, explodes and is no longer there.
That's right.
He's not lying on the ground like they have been in previous episodes and then gets magna beamed.
Sure.
So back on the spaceship, Poisandra is pissed off because she needs someone to make this wedding cake. I don't know why she thinks the wedding is going to happen now, given that they've been engaged for 65 million years.
Well, it's probably the only thing that's been keeping her going, you know? Like, her mind has probably been slowly deteriorating over this 65 million years, but the whole time she's been, just hang in there, there's a wedding coming, I really want to get married, it's going to happen.
So, Sledge, begrudgingly almost, makes one of the Vivics shoot down a magna beam.
Yeah.
At which point, Cavity, I guess, reconstitutes?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty standard Power Rangers. It gets destroyed, but then it grows.
Yeah, it's weird because the destruction seemed so final.
Sure, yeah.
I was ready for the episode to end there, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So anyway, they summon the... I don't know if the Megazords have names, but it's the standard blue, red, pink Megazord.
It does seem like this is just called the Dino Charge Megazord, this formation, was the impression that I got.
Yeah. And then I believe the, alternate formations they occasionally give names to.
Certainly, yep.
So we get a nice bit of, shield to the face action.
Yeah, there was a bit more back and forth in this fight, mostly with the physical sort of non-CGI Megazord, which I quite liked.
Yeah. There's still some CG, and it's still not quite perfect, but, I'm happy to see some more physical stuff, always. You guys know that.
Sure. Yep. Now, there's an interesting bit there where Riley and Chase sort of aren't in the Megazord, and they seem to be suggesting that they need an opportunity to jump into the cockpit, the monster will stop them if they try now. So they suggest to Tyler using his Dino Charger to make fire come out of the Tyrannosaurus Rex head on the Megazord's arm. And he does that, fire comes out, it knocks the monster back.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I don't understand why they couldn't get in immediately.
No, because it's not like they need an opening to add their Zords to the thing.
And it's also not
they look like they teleport in.
Yeah. And historically, you never need an opening to add, a formation of a Megazord. The monster will wait. Yeah. There's etiquette here that will be observed.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a strange bit, and I don't quite know why it's there, but, whatever. So, the Stegosaurus part goes ooh, I can do something. And the shield, unfolds and becomes a sword?
Yeah, I don't understand. So the Stegosaurus sword wasn't there physically, but it seems to be that because the other Rangers are there, the spirit of the animals are there in the Zord?
No, isn't the Stegosaurus the blue Coda Zord? And it's there as a shield?
Okay. It's just that it seemed like it was Riley sort of... he was the one who instigated that happening. Although he did speak to Coda, didn't it? It was very ambiguous.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I think you might just be confused because it was a sword, but it wasn't Riley.
Sure, that's true. But the sword did have 5 different colours on it, which seemed to suggest that it can only happen when all the Rangers are in there.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
That's my sort of interpretation. And the sword strike that they end up doing did seem like this is the final finisher for this Megazord, like the proper, everyone's here, the team's together, this is our final strike sort of situation.
Sure, everyone gets to use this special sword when we're all here.
That's right. Then the planet Earth flashes up behind them, and they do like a circular spin at the sword before bringing it down. It's crazy. But,
And Matt, what do they say when they defeat him?
I can't remember. What do they say, Michael?
They say, "Extraction complete."
Ah, yes. Yes, they do.
He's a tooth monster.
He sure is.
Time to make some toothpaste.
Yeah. But my thing is better, but that's fine. Let's move on.
There's one bit here that I have to comment on.
Yep.
Chase and Riley, high five.
Yep.
But they both high five into the split screen effect in the middle of the screen. They're actually on opposite sides of the room.
Yeah. It's a very meta moment, isn't it?
Because they're not actually standing next to each other. So they'd just be, swinging at the air.
I mean, air high fives are a thing, you know? So I like the idea that in universe, they're just doing, an air high fives to each other. But from our standpoint, we get it cut so it sort of makes an actual high five.
Whoever's shooting this bizarre documentary was like, no, I can do better with that.
Yeah.
So I need to point out at this point, before we go back to the spaceship, that Timothy was in the room with me while we watched a bit at the end of this. And so Tim points out that although Sledge is giving everyone shit for not having defeated any Rangers, statistically, barely anyone has ever, permanently defeated a Power Ranger.
It's happened once, basically.
Yeah, so, it's not like he's expecting them to be able to do something that's really easy.
But that's kind of traditional, isn't it? I mean, incredibly over-optimistic estimations on the part of the bad guy are sort of necessary. Can you imagine if it was the Power Rangers who got, resoundingly defeated each and every week and had to come back each week with that same level of, we're going to get the bad guy this time. Even though the Megazord blew up last week.
Show.
Yeah. We lost Chicago this week, but it won't happen again. Boston's going to be the one. We're definitely not going to lose Boston.
It cannot happen again. There's no more Chicago.
That's
we'll have to wait 50 years for us to rebuild Chicago, and then we'll be able to have that happen again. So Poisandra blows Fury a kiss, which is represented as a flying pink heart.
Yes.
Which Fury cuts in half?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, once again, don't understand, all for it.
That should be the motto of us watching Dino Charge.
Yeah.
Don't understand, but all for it.
Yeah.
So Riley is gearing up for another run.
Yes.
Chase comes to join him.
Yes.
Sexually.
Join his body in sexual congress.
Yep. So Riley starts telling, Chase about how when he was growing up, everyone used to make assumptions about him.
About his sexuality.
Yep.
Because he lived on a farm.
Yeah, Wait, hold on. No, I need to unpack that. What assumptions do you make about someone's sexuality because they live on a farm?
Well, I think stereotypically farmers are very masculine. So, it is assumed they're straight. Obviously, that's not correct. That's not a demographic representation.
Right, okay.
But
there must be some gay farmers.
Sure, exactly. But I think culturally,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I was saying.
Okay, sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But, look, Chase isn't listening. He's got his headphones in. He's still a bit of a shit.
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty good fake out, actually. I quite liked it. Yeah. Because, that sort of spiel was almost perhaps a bit too earnest, but then they sort of undercut it with that reveal, and it definitely sort of takes some of that out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Listeners, if you weren't expecting them to make out at that point, can you write in? Because I'm genuinely curious.
I think the problem is that a lot of people watch enough television to sort of expect gay kisses not to happen, if that makes sense.
Right, sure.
but certainly if this is a real life situation, then yes. Which I don't want to suggest that you can't have a close male friend and have genuine emotional connections and the sort of emotional development that happens in this episode.
No, because otherwise we're in a lot of trouble.
That's right. We probably would have had a lot of sex by now.
Yeah. What do you mean would have?
But that's not the case. There's different people call sex different things.
Well, yeah, I mean, in other
where
languages... Were we? Jesus Christ. This went completely off the rails, didn't it? So look...
It really did.
Everyone's there. They all, Riley did pretty good. They all want to train with him.
Yes.
The first rule of training is that there are no rules. Chase thinks that's cool because he can kind of see what's going on.
Because he's a maverick.
Coda's very confused.
This is a nice touch.
Yeah.
Coda being like, but that's a contradiction in terms, basically.
I would pay a fair bit of money to watch Coda try and understand Fight Club.
Yes.
Even
Coda in most situations would be fantastic.
Okay, rule 1 of Fight Club. There are no rules. What do you mean? What do you mean? Rule 2, you don't talk about Fight Club. That's what
you just did.
What is rule 3, you don't talk about Fight Club. What? That was rule 2 and no. I think Coda watches movies should be a regular feature on a Power Rangers blog somewhere.
I like the idea of Coda, just being a character on Community, where there's all these sort of, very, arch, metatextual conversations going on, and Coda's, desperately trying to make heads or tails of what these people are talking about. That would be great.
Who do we have to write to get into 6 of Community?
Oh, so good. But no, that's not what we get. Instead, they decide to all hang out and do crazy flips.
Before the crazy flips, Chase puts one arm on Riley's shoulder. Riley puts both his arms on Chase's shoulders. This episode is trying really hard to get me to think that they're about to have a lot of sex.
The thing is, we could definitely have that be our canon. Nothing in this episode contradicts that.
No, from here on out, as far as I'm concerned, those two are fucking whenever we're not watching them.
I mean, there must have been gay cavemen, right?
I want to say yes, but I don't know enough about gay people or cavemen to answer that question.
Sure. I guess it does seem to be sort of part of the makeup of your brain, which constitutes whether you're on the sort of spectrum of sexuality in any place.
Sure.
Specifically. And it's possible that because cavemen were earlier in the species, their brains were certainly different. It's hard to know.
Right, so they might not have had gay brain. Oh, that sounds offensive.
That definitely sounds offensive.
Yeah. Ooh, boy, let's just move on before I get angry emails.
It's potential. It could be that they didn't have straight brain and everyone was just pansexual.
That's certainly possible. I was worried you were going to say everyone was gay, and then I was like, well, no, that wouldn't have worked because eventually some of them had to have babies.
There's some logistical problems there, to be sure. Yep.
All of your ancestors were gay. Science fact.
If we named our episodes, that would definitely.
be this episode is called All. I think we should start naming our episodes just so we can name this episode "All of Your Ancestors Were Gay." Science fact. Anyway, Tyler does a handstand and Coda flips through his legs. Chase and Riley do a mid-air jump high five.
Yep.
It's nice.
Here's the thing about this. I really loved this whole episode. The issue I found was that this is simultaneously both a really great, high energy, super fun way to end the episode that matched my feelings about the episode. It also made me feel really bad about my human form and its lack of ability to do those things.
Right, you mean like because they're running and stuff?
Well, I can run, not great. I'm working on it. I can't do those crazy flips.
Sure.
And that flip...
If it's any consolation, like 12 people can do those crazy flips.
That flip that Coda does over Tyler with his legs spread in the air, Yoshi posted a photo of that up on his Facebook page and basically said, like, this is what I do every day. I love my life. And also mentioned that there weren't any stunt doubles there. They did that for real, which is pretty great.
Oh, I can really imagine that going horribly wrong, though.
Oh, sure.
Right,
and, like, I'm sure they're not insured because that would cost money.
Oh, yeah. Requiring insurance is probably a guild thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Matt, you're on record as loving it.
Michael, this is a dangerous thing to say. It might be my favourite episode of Power Rangers.
I'd certainly say that of the episodes of Power Rangers that I've seen in the last 2 years, it's very close to the top.
And I think that is probably the key there. The reason I'm sort of hesitant to say that is because if I presented this to someone out of context, I think they would be like, why is this so great?
Yes.
But it's the comparison to everything that has happened before.
It's not necessarily better than, like, Forever Red and Countdown to Destruction and all of those big ones. But compared to the shit we've been dealing with...
And the thing is, like, Forever Red and stuff like that, those are once-off things. Like, they can only use that trick once, right? Whereas this is just a solid episode. It doesn't have any of those sort of bonuses or gimmicks to prop it up. There's no new Rangers, nothing like that. It's just a fantastically solid episode.
Frankly, the only thing it's missing is Pumpkin Wrapper.
Basically, yeah. It is so absurdly over the top, but also genuinely compelling and interesting. And I bought the characters. I bought their motivations. It was a little touching. It ticked all the boxes.
Judlin, I know you're not listening to this, but keep it up, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so...
But we should also say that we believe he has a writer's room now.
Yep.
Credit to all those guys as well. We don't want to sort of shortchange them.
And also to all the actors. You're all actually genuinely doing a good job.
Yeah, and we can all tell that you're into it and you're enthusiastic, and that can't be overstated how important that is.
No, I don't think so. So, Matt, Fantasy Zordon.
Yeah.
How'd you do this week?
It was a confusing one for Fantasy Zordon. With the Viveks, it seems like an ongoing problem. That when they are and aren't destroyed seems very nebulous. I got one with Coda, which might be him destroying it because he shoots it in the chest, and it does seem to explode in the chest, if not completely.
Yeah, you can have that one, I think. That seems fair.
So I think 1 point there, Riley didn't seem to do anything sort of definitive to a Vivek, so no points there. No combo weapon.
Nope.
Megazord formation.
Oh, sorry,
again.
Hold on.
Yep.
Would you say that the gun sword and sword gun were a combo weapon?
Well, to me, they're alternate charges.
Sure. Would they not be alternate charges that make a combo weapon?
I think a combo weapon has to be a combination of weapons.
Okay, that seems fair.
Yeah. So yeah, 1 Viveks point for Coda, no combo weapon. 4 Megazord formation, Michael.
Yep.
Riley is in the Megazord.
Yeah, it doesn't count. It's got to be his Zord.
Okay, sure. Alright, so that's 2 points for Coda because he's part of the formation. None for Riley. Power up, no power ups.
Nope.
Alternate Dino Charger, I put 2 down for Riley for that sort of situation.
Yep.
Where they swap charges. Morphing Call for Riley, 3 points.
Indeed he does.
Important lesson for Riley, 3 points.
Yep.
No new charger, and solo defeat is 5 points for Riley.
So how did Riley do this week?
He fucking killed it, is the answer to that question, Michael. So that's 5, 8, 11, 13 for Riley.
And how many for Coda?
Only 3 for Coda.
Only 3 for Coda. And I'd imagine that none of your other 2 Rangers appeared this episode.
I think you know that's the case, yes. So that will make a total of 20 for this week.
Ooh, boy. All right.
Right.
The only thing Shelby did this week that we're counting was be part of a Megazord formation.
Shelby was kind of a non-starter this week, wasn't she?
It's a slow one for her and Tyler, and a little bit for Coda as well.
Yeah. At least Coda got a few small moments, whereas Shelby got nothing.
I mean, I think with a cast of 5 that will eventually become a cast of 10, so that's just going to have to happen sometimes.
Sure, and I think the way they're structuring it now is that they're definitely playing closer focus on certain Rangers as the episodes go on. Like, as predicted, this was an episode that focused on the relationship between 2 Rangers.
Yep.
And if we keep doing that and then Shelby comes up in that rotation more, she's going to get a lot of spotlight, so it's not a problem. It's just, the way the show is structured now, which I love.
All right, so Chase had an alright week this week. He used an alternate Dino Charger and did a solo defeat of a Monster of the Week for 7 points, which brought me to a total of 13 points this week.
Right.
So, for those of you playing at home, here are the current scores. Chase, the Black Ranger, is on 36. Coda, the Blue Ranger, is on 30. Riley, the Green Ranger, is on 35. Shelby, the Pink Ranger, is on 29. And everyone else is on 10 points.
Yep.
So, Matt, as of this moment, you and I are tied on 85 points.
Dun, dun, dun.
The spread at the moment, so everyone knows, we've got some people on 91 points, which is the top, and there's some people on 79 points is the bottom. So you and I are dead in the middle, Matt.
Yep.
And there's people on either side. It's very exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
Good spread.
Sure. All right.
I don't know what to say about statistics. You're the statistics guy.
Matt, there's something we have to do now, which is the creature feature.
The Ranger Danger Creature feature. Yes, indeed.
I don't think we need much discussion. Cavity's going at the top, yeah?
Yeah, God. Wait,
Above,
yes, of course.
Above Cage Monster and member of the Village People, Slammer.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 6, and he's definitely the best, so...
Yeah, I mean, I guess we should do the right thing and talk briefly about why he's the best. He has an amazing design. He makes evil cakes.
That give people toothache.
Yep, so that's amazing. He has a Megazord battle that is, while there's not a lot of back and forth, there seems to be a little bit more than there usually is. So, just by default, he's leading there. No disappointments with this guy.
Good guy.
Good guy.
Yeah.
Well, bad guy, but...
Oh, sure, yeah.
Good bad guy.
Good bad guy. And anyway, alright, do you have anything else this week, Matt?
I don't think so. I want to rave a bit more about how good the episode is, but I think I've covered it off. I think you guys understand.
I suspect that they'll get the impression. So we'll be back next week with episode 7. Can you believe we're already up to episode 7?
We're almost halfway through the season, Michael.
Yeah, it's amazing. Time has really flown. It's called Let Sleeping Zords Lie.
It's funny because it doesn't even rhyme.
No, it's a terrible joke.
Anyway, the Zord focus episode, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe the Zords will be put under some sort of sleep thing, maybe? Who knows?
Yeah.
We're also back on Saturday, as usual, with orchestral maneuvers in the park.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
That's our favourite title of an episode so far, I think.
Yeah, probably.
We also rave about a video game called Beats of Power, which we'll have to tell you more about on Saturday.
It's worth listening for because it is a genuine treat playing that game.
Yeah. Okay, so that's everything, Matt, unless you've got something else.
No, I'm all good.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget, right now, when the episode ends, review us on iTunes.
That's right. If you don't, I'll be right behind you when you next turn around.
That's the most horror. That's just... I'm not even comfortable with you saying that. I just got spooked out and looked behind me, and I know exactly where you are.
Yes. Right behind you.
Okay, that's... You get... Oh, no. Okay, we have to end the episode. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. I'll see you soon.
The